You look great, Ebony.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On the Mic with Mike, the leading daily social enterprise business show in the area. I'm your host, Mike King, and I appreciate you being here with me. The views expressed here are mine, have no connection to, support of, or agreement with any other host. Information or ads on the station. I don't work for the station. Our program airs here on a daily basis. Join me as this cutting edge show uplifts and showcases RVA in a different way. The sounds you're listening to are emanating from the Mike King Biz Studio, which is the global epicenter of social enterprise business. On the Mic with Mike, we highlight partnerships, people, social enterprise business, organizations, and we touch on some issues of the day. To get more information on me, please go to my social platforms. It's hashtag Mike King Biz, hashtag On the Mic with Mike RVA. We'd like to thank our show sponsors, the first hour, Tom Childry, the credit card guy. If you have credit card merchant issues, Tom Childry's the man. He helps you get paid faster. Make sure you go check him out, Tom Childry. He can be reached by calling 804-503-8472. Our second hour sponsor is Andy Taylor and Junk Luggers. You see them around town, they're eco-friendly. They help you get rid of things, not people. So if you have things around the house, that's fine. Give Andy and Junk Luggers a call. Everything from a single room to an entire household, they can help you remove it. If you have people around the house who you want removed, don't call him. He can help you with that. Those guys, they do a lot in the community. So also, support them for that reason. Along the way, we have to pay the bills, as I always say. Microphone ain't free, plus my grandkids need stuff. Please, make a listen and take a listen to all our sponsors and advertisers. We kick off the program today with the county that's on fire. The good folks from Henrico County, Jeff Conley, Ebonie, Adkins are here with us. Welcome to the program, folks.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay,
Thank you, Mike.
just a humble public, radio servant here. I'm just minding my business, and every time I look up, Henrico is on fire, making big announcements. A shout out to Anthony Romanello for, coming on board as a partner. Jeff Conley is here with us. Ebonie's here. The last time I talked to Ebonie, you guys were giving out money with the LIST program. That seemed like 2 lifetimes ago. And now all I see is Henrico just talking about this. Business is coming. So the floor is yours, you guys. Tell all the good folks about what's happening in Henrico.
Well, I'll follow up with the money give very briefly. Yes, last time we spoke, we had some funding we were giving for COVID relief for small businesses with LIST, and I encourage folks to be on the lookout. We are still trying to give out more funding in response to COVID relief. Businesses still have to adjust their operations, still have different needs related to COVID. So we will have some funding coming out likely in the next month or so to help businesses to buy supplies for COVID. So if it's masks, if it's plastic shields, if it's floor stickers, if you have to adjust your operations or your layout, some of those infrastructure needs that you may have, this is for small businesses as well. But there is some funding that will be coming out of the county soon just for that specific purpose. So just to follow up on that, we're not done giving out money yet. We're trying to give out more and to help and keep these small businesses in business during this time. It's not over yet.
It's good because there was the initial push and everybody ran, and now it seems like we're settling back in, but the business owners still have that struggle that, we've heard bad news, bad news, bad news, and now it's like, hey, the world opened back up, but the business owners still are having the struggles trying to find things to make that happen.
So true. That's so true. We did have a fund for outdoor heaters. Luckily, it's warming up now, so folks can use their indoor spaces and outdoor spaces a little bit more efficiently. But we want to be able to support that. And I know Jeff has other things that you'd like to share that we are doing together. So I'm just excited to be here and share all the great things that Henrico is doing and really get more tapped into the community.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ebony. I am excited to be with the King. I've heard of a great many throughout the city who've been able to be on this show. So I'm glad I'm on the A list now. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Don't believe the hype, but I'll take it.
Absolutely. But as Ebony said, Henrico is very intentional about being inclusive in our supply chain. And our partnership with the Economic Development Authority is just one of those initiatives that makes the things happen here. Ebonie and her team go out and they bring the companies in. And then I'm charged with making sure that they're doing good business in the communities that we serve, which is, small, women, and minority-owned businesses. And I say the county is intentional because for myself, I'm the supplier relations manager. It is my job 100% of the time. So it's not a part of any other job that I do. Literally, I'm charged with being an outreach resource for vendors. And so most recently, Ebonie and I kind of partnered and thought about, hey, what is a better way for us to do this? I've only been in this role about four years, so I can't take credit for the county SWAM program, but literally, we've had great successes across the board. Typically, we spend about 50% of our procurement spend with small women and
Can
minority.
you give our listeners an idea of what the SWAM program is? Because you hear that term thrown around a lot and its importance of it. So give our ESPN Richmond listeners an idea of what exactly that is.
Absolutely will. Thank you, Mike. We often use acronyms and assume that everyone knows. So the SWAM program, the acronym Small, Women, and Minority Owned. So the program that Henrico County has set up, and there's also a SWAM certification. We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. Some great things happening in that area. But there is a SWAM certification that businesses can obtain. So it is basically what the acronym stands for and what I've said. Those are the businesses that we focus on. Those businesses that identify as small, women, or minority owned. And that's a certification that's granted, 51% owned and operated by a small business, or there's a designation based on the employees that you have, 51% owned and operated by a woman and or a minority. And in that minority category is, African Americans, Native Americans, the LGBTQ, small disabled vets, and that minority designation seems to grow by the day based on designations, but those are the ones that we primarily focus on here in Henrico.
On the mic with Mike, Jeff, and Ebonie are with us talking about all the great things happening in Henrico. Mike King Biz here, ESPN Richmond 106.1. ESPN Richmond, that's where you find us 5 to 7 a.m. Also on the Choice, 105.3 FM. We're there from 2 to 3, talking about business, life, and everything in between. Here with these good folks talking about what makes Henrico such a good place to do business. I know, Ebonie, you had said, Henrico basically is open for business. Well, everybody says that, but everybody says we're open for business. But the airways and the media isn't always talking about Henrico got this, Henrico did this, Henrico's doing all those things. Why is it such a hotbed for business activities?
I think Henrico is just in a sweet spot. We're suburban, but not. There are some rural areas. It just gives folks a nice mix of life, of lifestyle, and even the business owners, whether it's the CEO of a large company or a two-person operation, small business, they have that diversity of where they want to locate, the type of feel they want, the environment they want for their business to grow. And then we're in a great region, Richmond, Chesterfield, all of the localities surrounding, we work very closely together to make this a regional effort. As far as my role, I am the business manager focusing primarily on retention and expansion of existing businesses in Henrico. So we have someone going out and attracting and trying to get new jobs and new investment, like the Amazon project, 1,000 new jobs coming to the Raceway. We have someone doing that, but then I work to keep Amazon here and to keep them happy, but I also work to keep the small businesses here and keep them happy. So, I think for us, we're really intentional about who we work with, how we work with them, how we can support, be it workforce needs, be it logistical infrastructure needs. It's just really, it's a regional partnership, but we are very attentive to our existing Henrico businesses and keeping them here and creating that growth and investment.
Really along those lines. So I came here in 2014, and I think I'm like a lot of people who you hear Henrico, you just automatically think of Short Pump and the West End. And it was only when I talked to Anthony, it's like, hey man, A lot of the bills are getting paid for the county on the east end. And when you hear the big things that Jeff is going to go, Jeff, give us a highlight reel of some of the most recent things that are happening with Henrico.
Well, that's a great segue into me because I live in the East End. So I always say to folks, not only do I get to work for a great county, Henrico, I get to live in a great county. So I would say also a success for Henrico is leadership. We have great leadership, and Mike, leadership matters.
Sure.
And we're very fiscally sound, but man, I'm most excited about, of course, the East End, because that's my neighborhood, but folks in the East End will see Highland Springs High School coming up. I was just there riding on that airport drive this weekend. It is amazing, right? You would think it was a college campus. That school looks so great. That's just one thing that's happening in the East End. We have a great supervisors. Actually, I feel like we have two there because we have Fairfield and Verina. So Reverend Nelson and also Mr. Thornton. But just over the past 2 years, when you think about the brand new library, the aquatics center, like it is a great place to be in a great time. And those projects are always put out where our small business owners have an opportunity to play a role in it. And so I meet with vendors all the time who say, I live in Henrico, my business is in Henrico, how can I play a role in some of this growth? And clearly we try to do as much as we can to make sure that happens. For example, Ebonie was talking about the Amazon jobs coming. She could probably expand more on that, but 1,000 jobs in that area, that's incredible.
That's big
just
time.
not happening.
Right.
Yeah. And that's at the Raceway. So we're already familiar with that area, but Henrico, again, so I can't say it enough, we're open for business and we are trying to equip folks to be able to do business with us.
So you guys are on the front lines talking to business people every day. Let's go back. Normally, like I say, this ain't 60 Minutes and I'm not Leslie Stahl. But all of a sudden having a radio program, I started to think of certain things. What is Henrico doing different now coming through the pandemic that pre-pandemic would have never thought, like, we ain't never doing that. But all of a sudden you're like, hey, that's pretty good. And now we're going to continue doing that because a lot of businesses, I talk to a lot of businesses every day, some of them are kind of reluctant to say, hey, we didn't do too bad in 2020. When the world shut down, a lot of businesses are going, hey, it wasn't that bad for us. We did kind of good. So what is Henrico doing now different than you would have never done before?
I can speak from the government perspective, which is where I fall on the government side of Henrico County. One huge initiative that, a year and a half ago that we may not have thought of was our remote workers, right? So you look back a year ago that so little of our workforce was able to work from home, right? And it was not even encouraged. Basically, we were going to come into the bricks and mortar. I would love to say this is my home, but this is my office. But when I'm not in my office, I'm now equipped to work from home and no less productive. So much like much of America who had to resort to that remote working, that was huge because the county had to kind of foot some of that cost to be able to afford me to be able to work from home, whatever electronics and technology. But we made that pivot, right? Because our citizens, our business owners, our vendors we couldn't miss a beat because we had to continue to ensure their success. So just like business owners pivoted, as a county, we had to pivot. That would be one big thing that I would say. And you asked, what won't we change? I don't know that everybody's at home now will come back to an office because we've found out that we can be just as productive and we don't have the overhead costs.
Yeah, that genie may be hard to put back in the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because now we've realized that you don't have to lay eyes on people for business to get done. That's it.
Exactly.
Not on a daily basis. I've heard a lot about folks making plans for a hybrid model, half of the workforce coming in on alternate days, but I don't see it every day. I am at home today, which is great. I like that flexibility. I want to add to what Jeff said. I'm fairly new to the EDA. I joined back in September, but even working from the state side, I had worked very closely with Henrico County. And I see one major thing that I've seen over the last year that may be different than before is just being more proactive about supporting small business. We all were made aware, the Walmarts, they may be okay. We're all running to get our tissue and our sanitizing products from Walmart, but what about our small businesses? And really, I'm not sure that that was something that the EDA focused on. We would, of course, if anyone ever came to the EDA needing help, we would do everything we could to assist them. But right now, we're more proactive about that. So this month right now is Small Business Appreciation Month. You'll notice on our social media, we will be highlighting some small businesses that are in Henrico, be it retail, restaurants, service providers. We really want to bring that attention to them. The funding that I've spoken of before was really targeted towards small businesses. It was for companies that were 10 employees or less. Some of those larger corporations can go through the process to get that federal funding and get it more easily. So we want to make funding accessible to small businesses. I think that's just a big change at the EDA side that I'm sure and I'm positive, and through the work that I do, we'll continue to support and engage with small businesses even more in the future.
So, Ebonie, along those lines, how can people find you and the great services that the EDA offers?
So I'm online, on social media, on LinkedIn, Ebonie Adkins, Ebonie. I like to make sure that that's clear, but you can email me. Our emails are very easy. It's ebonie@henrico.com. You can call me, go to our website. My phone number is listed there. Anytime that anyone needs anything, whether it's small, large business, workforce, business licensing, if I don't have the answer, if I'm not the answer, I will get the answer for you. But all of our social media, we try to make sure that we provide that contact information that you can get a hold of the EDA online and through the phone, obviously.
Good enough. Thank you. All right, Jeff. Come on, man. It's time. It's time to roll out some of the greatest hits of the recent time. What are some of the wins that I've been talking about that people would hear when we talk about Henrico County?
Oh, wow. So, I invited Ebonie along to kind of help me so that I wouldn't forget any of those. But, I talked about the high school that we're building in the East End. We're also building one in the West End, J.R. Tucker. We're looking at those the Amazon facility there at the racetrack. Virginia Center Commons will look very differently in about a year to 18 months. Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be great.
And the baseball field, don't forget that.
That's right. Okay, yeah. Now I'm a baseball fan. Let's talk a little bit about baseball. What's happening along those lines?
Well, I'm not a fan. Ebonie, you brought up baseball. Help Mike with the baseball.
I can play. I don't know how to keep up with the stats and batting averages and all that. I used to play softball in 7th and 8th grade. If I still got it, it might, Mike can hop
No, really. Dory Park, Mike, in the East End is what we were talking about relative to that baseball.
Wow. Okay. So, and all those things help with business, but also quality of life and things to attract new business. So, Jeff, you guys are out there pitching Henrico to the world to come here and do business.
It's a great pivot from the baseball part. Pitching.
Pitching.
That's why you do what you do, Mike.
That's why he's the king.
No, trust me. It was not intended that way. I just got lucky on that one. But that's for sure. So, all right, so we're bringing in big business, all types of business from all over. Ebonie, you're tasked with helping the business retain and stay here and thrive. What's what do you say that would be like a common problem that people are coming to you with these days post-COVID?
Right now, it is all about workforce. I have so many calls, emails, setting up so many meetings with our CareerWorks Workforce Development Board, because so many companies, small and large, are having a hard time finding workers. There are a lot of issues at play, whether it's unemployment benefits, whether it's health, daycare concerns, all of those things play a role into that. So, I won't go into that, but folks are having a hard time finding workers and keeping workers. So I am constantly trying to connect job seekers with the employers that I know that are hiring. We have a few hiring events coming up in June. We will have a drive-through job fair. I'm going to get this right. It's on June 12th. That's with Career Works. It's at 121 Cedar Fork. So we are going to enlisting some employers to come out. Job seekers can drive through and get the information about job opportunities, but it's all about workforce. That's the biggest issue that I'm facing right now.
All right, Ebonie, as we get closer to that, why don't you swing back again and we can really talk about that. That's a big part. When I do a lot with restaurants, and shout out to my good friends, Helen Holmes from Miss Gurley's Kitchen, Michelle's Cafe, and Charles Kitchen. When they're telling me about no workers, when you have more business than you have workers, or I have to close so I can stay open, when you look at that concept, a job fair is something that's very important. So we're going to do is swing back before that event, and let's talk about that and shine some light on it. Jeff, how can people find the diversity, please? And what's something new and exciting and the listeners and business owners could use right now going forward?
Great, thank you. So just like Ebonie, the good thing about local government is we are so transparent. Unlike my folks and colleagues who are in corporate, we won't hide from you. So all of my information is out there on the internet. If you go to our Henrico site, you'll see us. My phone number is out there. And as well, I'm on LinkedIn. I say to vendors all the time, I don't necessarily give out business cards. I ask you to connect with me on LinkedIn, because that's where you're going to find the greatest resource. You will not only see what I or Henrico has, but you'll see what my colleagues both throughout the Commonwealth and throughout the nation have to offer. So I encourage people to connect with me on LinkedIn. So that's an opportunity. So one of the things that we do have coming up great and exciting is this week, Mike. Ebonie and I will be hosting, along with the Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity, a webinar on this Thursday from 3 to 4:30, where we are actually helping business owners to become SWAM certified. It's a two-part series where we will talk about the value of SWAM certification, and our partner from the Small Business and Supplier Diversity Department will be there to actually walk folks through. That's how intentional Henrico is, that we recognize that SWAM certification opens up a world of opportunities throughout the Commonwealth, not just with Henrico, but throughout the Commonwealth with, higher education, other localities and municipalities. We want to assist you in being able to do that. That's intentional. You're not seeing that everywhere. And so that's a partnership that we've established, Ebonie and myself, with Small Business and Supplier Diversity. So that would be what we would want folks to be on the lookout for. And I'll make sure that information is out on my LinkedIn page today, so that folks can connect.
Here's sometimes when people talk about set-asides and programs like that, could you good folks explain to people the importance of why that's needed? It's not, just giving people something for nothing. It is good business practice. So please enlighten some folks out there who may be questioning why that needs to happen.
So there are two schools of thought, Mike. Set-asides are great. And so what you will see is with that SWAM certification, becoming a SWAM certified business, it will give you access to a lot of what the Commonwealth offers for businesses specifically designated in a particular area. So, be it microloans or micro businesses. So those are great. There is a place and a time for that. I'm glad you asked this question. I often get the question, does Henrico have set-asides? Well, we don't. We don't have set-asides, and we don't have goals necessarily for our projects. I'm okay with that. What I have seen in other areas is when you set a goal, that's as much as you can do. And so you end up having, if I have a 10% goal, then when I meet my 10% goal, I don't ask for any more. I'm not going to stop at 10%. I'm not even going to stop at 50. Like I told you, on average, Henrico is spending about 50% of our procurement spend with small women and minority businesses. That's not enough. It's not enough until we say 60, 70. So yeah, set-asides are great. I support those, but I always have to ask that. And I'm glad you asked the question the way that you did, to be able to entertain to folks that we're doing so much. Like literally, we don't have a goal. There is no goal set out there for us, but we're already doing 50% of our spend, at least, at minimum. So that I'd rather have that as a foundation than, you know, a max.
That's true. On the mic with Mike, Jeff Conley, Ebonie Adkins here. One last time, how can people find you good folks out there?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Ebonie Adkins. You can email me anytime, Ebonie@henrico.com. That's EBONIE@henrico.com.
Jeff Conley.
And you can find me on LinkedIn, Jeff Conley, or you can email me at Henrico. It is CON086@henrico.us.
On the mic with Mike, we bring you the best and brightest. That's what we do here, talking to folks about what they're doing and how they're making lives better for the good folks at Henrico and RV area. On the mic with Mike, we'd like to thank you guys for coming in. Jeff, you'll be back. Ebonie, you'll be back. We'll be talking about the job fair. Make sure you guys stay connected with us. We appreciate it. Thanks now. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. On the mic with Mike, we'd like to thank Ebonie and Jeff from Henrico County coming and talking to us. Today's weather, sponsored by our good friends over at Cena Hospitality. If you have hospitality needs, whether you need event space, whether you need a room or rooms people are coming into town, or you need to just get away, make sure you give our good friends over at Cena Hospitality a contact. Ravi Patel and his people will take good care of you. The weather today, folks, weather is 81 degrees with light rain. It's 81 and low of 58, 40% chance of rain that's out there. So it feels like it's going to be a decent day with a little bit overcast. The winds out of the south-southwest, 10 miles an hour. Sun sets today at 8:05 p.m. So if you need some hospitality, whether it be hotel rooms or event space, make sure you tell our good friends, Ravi Patel at Mike King on the mic with Mike sent you. Also be on the lookout for our interviews coming up. We have the mayor coming up on the mic with Mike. We also have our 2021 Biz Summit at the Fairfield, where we're going to talk to business and community leaders. On the mic with Mike, the best business radio program around. We'll talk to you on the other side. Thanks now. Take care.